Since 2005, Madden NFL has completely dominated video game football. Although it's the largest name out there when it comes to football offerings, Madden is no longer the only show in town. There are several other football titles currently in development that could be an alternative to Madden that some fans are looking for. But what are they? Let's take a look. Let's start with a game that's still a bit shrouded in mystery. Joe Montana Football was announced nearly 2 years ago, and while many have expected to see it sometime in 2016, it still is yet to be released. After some early hype, the game was revealed to be a mobile-only title, but it appears it shifted towards virtual reality during development. Montana 17 will launch initially for Google Daydream and Samsung Gear. Though the game doesn't have an official NFL license, it is the first VR title to be licensed by the NFL Players Association, meaning players like Tom Brady and Antonio Brown will make an appearance in the game, along with many others. In terms of gameplay, it's been revealed that Montana 17 will feature only passing plays in the 7-on-7 action. More details as well as release date are expected in the near future. Canadian Football 2017 comes to Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC this June and will, as the title suggests, feature the full Canadian Football rulebook. Although unfortunately the game won't feature an official Canadian Football League license, it will come with 9 generically created teams to utilize. For fans that want to create their own real teams in the CFL, the PC version of the game will offer a customization option. Football History is a game that will feature custom leagues that follow the rules of the NFL, CFL, and indoor football. Developer Kyle Anderson's goal is to let players enjoy a football experience in any way they prefer, from player-created teams and players to a variety of in-game leagues. Football History aims to leave no stone unturned for fans. They even recently announced a licensing deal with the classic teams from Southwestern Athletic Conference, including Alcorn State, Grambling, Southern University, and among others. The game is being developed, many of these titles are, by a small independent team that is passionate about what they're creating. Right now, the most we have are some player models, as well as a look at some of the stadiums and arenas and what they look like in the game. However, new gameplay is expected to come in the very near future. The aim is for a late 2017, early 2018 release on the PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Axis Football 17. The team at Axis has seen their Axis Football series become more and more popular over the last couple of years, and they know that the time has come to really make a move towards being a true option for hardcore football fans everywhere. Axis Football 17 includes brand new player models, improved audio featuring the voice of the NFL 2K series, and a brand new fully featured team editor. The game has grown from a small flash game played in browsers to becoming a full football game that fans can play any way they want. Want to create a college game? Axis Football will allow it. What about a custom league with your own cities and logos? You can do that as well. The customization options here are very impressive. Axis Football 17 launches on Steam for the PC this summer. Mutant Football League. If you're looking for a simulation experience, then you may want to look elsewhere. However, if you're looking for a fun, fast-paced football game, then Mutant Football League may be exactly what you need. Mutant Football League will feature over a dozen teams, multiple stadiums, a 13-game season, a playoff mode, a halftime minigame, online multiplayer, and more. With teams like the Nukeland Patriots and Deadlanta Vultures, the MFL parodies the NFL in a way that feels fresh and fun. With the legendary voice of Tim Kitchrow calling the action, fans can play as great MFL legends like the Shermanator, Hambonio Crown, and Wham Neutron, among others. The game makes no bones about being a fun arcade experience on the field with various traps, dirty tricks, and depth of players in the field. The game is expected to launch in October for PC via Steam, and console launch coming around Super Bowl 52 in 2018. Well, those are the major football games currently in development with set launch dates we have there. Hopefully you guys will check them out and support these indie titles. Alright, as a special bonus to this video, I wanted to bring on a special guest. I have Sim Football Critic, one of the veteran members of the Madden community, been playing the game for a long time, had a big impact positively on the game. So I wanted to kind of bring him on, get his opinion on the idea of Madden being dethroned and how he feels about some of the games that are coming out or in development. So welcome, Sim.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. Happy to be on and give my thoughts on this recent article that you guys posted and just this situation in general.
Yeah. So kind of how do you feel about currently? Do you feel that any of these current games in the development Do you think there's any chance that Joe Montana football or some of the Access football in these games development right now, or any other game, has a chance to actually match or eclipse Madden football?
That's going to be a real tough situation. I mean, primarily with Joe Montana, I'll just start with that one because that's the one I'm mostly familiar with. Unfortunately, you guys know what I'm referring to. All of the hype that came from that, and the guy, the name, Damon Gross, but his name was slipping me, but I just remembered. He reached out to a lot of us guys in the sim community and getting feedback and things of that nature, and it ended up being what we thought were going to be a mobile product. And then now, as we're seeing, it's going to be a virtual reality product. Real quick and simple, I could just say for that particular game, I think that kills its campaign right there as far as trying to be anywhere close.
I'm guessing it's still early development, but it really does not look close to the screenshots we've seen initially.
Yeah, and to be honest, man, that might be their best chance, is going a different route. That could be very telling, and that might even answer the question that you had in terms of, is any game close? To be fair, man, I think Joe Montana may have had the closest opportunity because of, obviously, Joe Montana being able to have a little more funding, you would think, than some of these other companies. The rest of the indie guys, man, I just think, no disrespect to them. I think they know that, and, hopefully they don't take it that way. I think it's too late, man.
Wow.
It's too late for an indie game. I mean, we're not talking about a Sony or a 2K getting back into the race. We're talking about an indie product that we can all say that's going to be a tough hill to climb, man.
So what do you feel about maybe something like a Mutant League Football, which is really not looking to be a direct competitor with Madden, but kind of a little offshoot in a different direction of that type of football game?
I actually think, much like what I said about Montana, I think going into your own lane and your own direction is the best way to go. Give people the opportunity to play something different. Because obviously we can pretty much guess what's going to happen with the relationship with Madden and the NFL. It seems pretty sweet to me right now. It seems like they're both happy where they are. We consumers may complain, but you don't really hear any complaints from EA, obviously, or the NFL. So I think something like a Mutant League Football just gives people a different experience. Much like, think along the lines of NBA Playground. We'll see how that game does. And that could give you an idea of, the success you may be able to have if you just cut out your own path and don't even try to jump into that replicating some type of football that's non-licensed. That's really going to be the crux, for any company.
And people talk about that a lot. They always say, like, especially in reference to NCAA football, just put something out there. We don't care if it has a license or not. How do you feel about something like that, Access Football, where they have the ability to customize player editor and make their own teams and jerseys and all that, just kind of putting out and allow the community to create their own NFL teams, create their own things?
Possibly, but it scares me, to be honest. We all talk about the mighty 2K. We all remember 2K5. But what about 2K8? There's a very small segment of people that reference that game. It died very quickly. That's 2K. It had customization, maybe not as deep as it could possibly be now, but even with 2K back in an unlicensed game, it didn't do well. So that's my only fear for guys like Access. And he does great work, considering his resources and things like that. I fear that a game like that, or even like some of the other indie products, the lack of success in terms of monetarily will cause those games to fade. I don't think it's enough to pull in the number that they need to continue to, produce the game at a higher level and, a better quality.
What about something that's not even targeting the NFL type market, with Canadian football 2017 that's currently in development?
That actually, again, is a smart idea. Do cut your own path out and try to, I think the Canadian football actually has a better shot because at least that game will have, I think, I'm not sure, but I think they're supposed to have some type of licensing, but at least it's somewhat of a familiar product.
Unfortunately, it doesn't have the official Canadian football license.
Oh, man.
Not for this year, at least.
Wow. You know what? That actually changes my mind, man, because if you're not even going to be licensed as a Canadian product, now why not just make a generic football game? Well, don't even throw the Canadian tag on it then.
Well, I think it's different rules between Canadian and American football. So I think I'm assuming that it's targeting based upon the differences in the actual game in play style between the Canadian League and NFL.
Wow, that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough to market.
Kind of the last one there is football history, which is definitely more of the indie type game there, and from a small developer. So I think he's kind of financing himself there and developed a game. But it looks like he actually has some licensing with small colleges and HBCUs and like Grambling State. It's colleges of that nature. So maybe that's the start of something big and some individual licensing and bringing something like NCAA back.
Maybe. It's just, you know as well as I do, man, we've been around gaming for a long time, and unfortunately you have to remember prior games that attempted certain things. Remember that Black College Experience football game?
Yeah.
You see, it just makes me feel like, and again, no shot at, because I believe that's Calvert Anderson, I think, that's his game?
I believe so.
Yeah, see, no shot at him. I'm just saying, when you look at the data or you look at previous attempts at certain things, it kind of gives you an idea what may or may not happen. Interesting enough, though, what's going to happen between his game and I think the Canadian football game, I think they are going to compete as well as access. I really just don't feel like any game right now will compete with Madden. Madden, let's be fair. We're all coming from a sim standpoint. We are a sim crowd.
Yeah.
Our crowd is nowhere as big as the millions of people who play Madden, and for the reasons they do, I just think it's too late, man. That game globally has become this giant product with MUT and these Madden challenges, and if you're coming with another game that doesn't offer any of that, the masses are not gonna consume it.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much about people talk about gameplay, and always focus. But they take some of those modes like MUT and franchise mode and online for granted, which are heavily developed over the years with Madden football. So what's kind of your thoughts on people don't realize that the new NBA game that's coming out there, Jam-Start games that are coming out, like, do you feel like the NFL license is taken up exclusive by EA Sports, but the NFL player license is open? So in the same way, do you think if someone wanted to develop like a game based upon the player license, getting the player likenesses into the game and not necessarily using the team names, I'm kind of surprised no one's come along and really tried to bring back NFL Blitz or Street, or featuring just the players themselves and not necessarily the teams.
Yeah, that actually could be an interesting market. I mean, you'd be surprised. I hear a lot of people, knowing that I have a close relationship with the Madden devs, a lot of people ask, hey man, you think they're ever going to bring NBA Street back? So there's a market for that. You're right. It's interesting to see that no one has attempted to do that. I don't know if Big Bad Madden has scared everybody away, but it's interesting. And like I said a little earlier, maybe the NBA playground game, if that's successful, maybe that opens the door for other companies to do something along those lines with with NFL players.
Yeah, no, I could totally see that. I think there's an opening there, so it's really surprising for me to see that like a larger studio is not kind of stepping up and going after that audience, that people who want to try something a little bit different. Maybe Madden's just so powerful they're just scaring everyone away to really hop out there and take that chance.
It must be something, man. I'll give the listeners here a small nugget. Maybe people here that visit you guys may not be familiar with this story I've told before, but I recall a few years ago, I was down actually in EA visiting the Madden devs, And we happen to go to this restaurant, and we see these guys. They come in, and for some reason, you know, just a conversation sparks. And come to find out, it was the development team for Backbreaker. If some of you guys remember that game. I mean, we sat there and we talked, you know, had a couple drinks, and, you know, we just started talking. And those guys literally told me that they had plans for a second game. I mean, the game was going to be so much more like what we're accustomed to seeing as far as football versus, you know, the mix between sim and arcade that they went for with the first game.
Yeah.
But without the license, they were scared to death to do it. And they told us we will never make another American football game. I was like, really? Even if you were able to get the license, or even if you guys were able to, you know, work with EA? And he was like, no, never. Wow. And then he actually said that, and, you know, this might surprise some of you guys because you think that the EA would never do anything to this nature. But this guy told me that, you know, it was people at EA at the time that asked about their engine, that Euphoria engine for physics. You know, this was before Madden got the physics.
Around the same time.
And the guys at Backbreaker, the main guy didn't want to sell it. He didn't want to sell the system or forge a partnership or anything. And I was like, wow. But they were scared to death, man. It was like, listen, we're never making football again. So
that's the first time I've ever heard that story. That's a really great story. It's interesting to really hear that because Backbreaker had a lot of hype behind it pre-release, and people were really excited about that game. And it was one of the games that people would build that they could challenge Madden because of that Euphoria engine and physics. And it's shocked to hear them not even try to make another game at all. I mean, even with the licensing, that's really interesting choice they made. The fact they didn't want to license the engine either. So I guess it's really easy to target Madden and throw a lot of vitriol towards Madden, not really realizing just how difficult game development is, especially to make a football game, or somebody really came along by this time as a challenger already.
Yeah, man, that's the thing, man. Being fortunate enough to, you know, have been a part of EA's Game Changer program, working closely, you know, with the likes of Rex Dixon and Clint Oldenburg, and there's others I can name that everyone may not know, but I've actually been able to learn how games are made. I mean, before I had that opportunity years ago, I was just like everybody else. I don't understand why they can't do this, or why they can't do that. Yeah. Why does it take so long? And I know you've had some of these opportunities as well to speak with developers for games and seeing behind the curtain. It's tough on us because we're like, you know, quote unquote, you know, community figures or public figures, but we know the reverse side of things. So it's like, it's tougher than people would think, man. And you're right. I think that's the reason why you haven't seen, you know, I don't want to say legit because I don't want to knock an indie company, but that's why you may not have seen a well-known company take a stab at football again, at least during this situation where the licensing is pretty much under wraps with EA. Because one thing that they have to understand, man, is it ain't just EA. It's the NFL. The NFL is cool. They're happy with where they are and the relationship they have. So it's going to be a tough road, man.
All right. Well, thanks, Sim. I appreciate you coming on, getting your expertise and your opinions and your thoughts on this subject. It is a great story that I didn't even know about Backbreaker there. So, and how it managed to really did not want to live up or take on the monster that is Madden. But thanks a lot, Sim. I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime, man. I'd be happy to do this. I feel like this was overdue.
Oh, yeah.
You know, us doing something together. But yeah, man, anytime.
Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video as well as our chat with Sim Football Critic. Make sure you like this video and subscribe for more Madden 2K tips, news, and everything from your favorite sports games. This is The Natural. I'm out.